Hash table. What is a hash table? Hash table is a linear data structure. It works to store the data at specific location, specific bucket. And this bucket is identified by some mapping process. Mapping process means 4 types of mapping process is used in this hash table. One is the division reminder process, second is multiplication process, third is folded key process, and fourth is the mid-square process. By 4 process, only one process is used at a time, and by 4 process we identify a location, that is bucket, where the data will be shifted. Each bucket contains the unique types of data, not that the one bucket will contain all types of data. But if it fails, then the bucket can maybe contain some duplicate data. After coming the data as a bucket, if it is seen that the bucket contains the duplicate data, then chaining process, that is the direct, if the direct mapping is failed, that is, if some data comes, if some bucket is not sufficient for the data, then it may be that the one bucket contains the more data. So it will fail. It is a failure of the algorithm. So first we see that sufficient bucket is available or not for the hashing program, for the hash table program. So if it is available, then the direct mapping is available. If direct mapping fails, that the sufficient bucket is not available, then the process is further required chaining process. That is to find out the free bucket, free location to store the data. And these types of the location possibility up to find out the location, that is called chaining process. In this chaining process, a pointer is used to find out, to locate the next bucket point, next location, next point where the data will be stored. So data storing process, the first works is data storing process by some mapping. If mapping is particularly works very well, then mapping is successful and direct mapping is possible for sufficient bucket for the data. If it is not possible, then bucket may contain the duplicate data. And to remove the duplicate data, chaining process is required. And this is the procedure to store the data at the procedure by the hash function. Hash function normally like the array. When we use array, it is of course the like of array, but when sometimes if it is happen that data availability is more than the bucket, then chaining process is required to point out the specific location of the